All right, let's take that question to our panelists this evening. Joining me, Major General Dhruv C. Katoch, Director, India Foundation, Dr. Abhishek Shrivastava, Assistant Professor, Jawaharlal Nehru University, Sushant Sareen, Strategic Affairs Experts, Brahma Chalani, Strategic Affairs Experts. I'm going to get all of you to weigh in on the question. Let's begin with you, Mr. Brahma Chalani. By putting in Russia, the United States, is it pressurizing India to make a geopolitical choice, Mr. Chalani?
In a sense, what Trump is seeking to do is to use trade as an instrument to co-opt India as a junior partner of the United States. So it's all about geopolitics. It's all about aligning India with US interests. And he himself said yesterday that it's partly about BRICS, partly about India. His Commerce Secretary Lutnick earlier said that the US is annoyed with India's trade with energy and military cooperation with Russia. So all these elements. So it's all about the two sides are negotiating tariffs, trade, but trade is only a channel to achieve larger geopolitical objectives. This is what Trump is seeking to do, use trade for geopolitics.
Well, Sushant Sareen, would you want to weigh in on that? Because that's what it seems like, where trade is being used as a tool, where India is concerned, to mete out geopolitical punishments.
Look, Trump is a one-trick pony. The only tool which he has in his toolkit is trade and tariffs, right? What else has he brought onto the table? What else does he offer to any of his partners, his allies, or anybody else that he wants to do business with? So one is that this is his brain cannot go beyond thinking of tariffs. Second, I think to attribute some great strategic planning that he's doing, I think that I don't think that's entirely correct. I think the last guy who put something in his ear is what he regurgitates. Third, I think for anybody to suggest that they're giving India a choice between Russia and the United States, I think that's being stupid, because frankly, India already had made its choice. And it's very clear, not just with these 10, 11 years, but almost this entire century, that we have been moving closer and closer to the Western bloc, and the distance between us, or the depth of the relationship between us and Russia, for example, has actually not been going to what it used to be in the 70s and 80s. That's a very clear trajectory of events. And yet we don't want to give up our relationship with the Russians, just as the Americans don't want to give it up with the Pakistanis or any of the other these rogue states that they deal with. Hell, they deal with the Chinese. They want to contend with the Chinese. They want to contest the Chinese, but they want to deal with them. And then finally, to say that, look, why is India a member of the BRICS? Are Baba, India as a member of the BRICS is basically ensuring that group of countries does not become an anti-Western or an anti-US kind of a bloc. So if you look at BRICS statement which came out, we ensured that neither Israel nor the US was mentioned, right? Even though we were talking about the attack on Iran and everything else, the BRICS statement, but it does not mention either the US or Israel. Secondly, on the whole concept of BRICS currency, India does not consider that BRICS currency is either a doable thing or something which is in India's interest. So we have rooted in favor of the dollar. Now, if he wants to be bloody-minded about it, he wants to be capricious and whimsical, and he wants to act like a schoolyard bully, there's very little
we'll come back. We'll circle back to that question, because, I think one also needs to reflect whether moving from what we thought was working in our favor, from non-aligned to now multi-aligned, has that come to a pass? Major General Katoch, would you want to weigh in on the developments of the last 24 hours?
Thank you, Preeti. The way I look at it is there is a geopolitical game being played. And as far as the Americans are concerned and the Western bloc is concerned, they presume that whatever they do, India will follow suit. I haven't really understood why they have that mindset. But for the last decade at least, that, India has changed. India is not playing any of those games. India is not following any bloc. We are not following the Americans. We are not following the Russians. We are not following anybody. For the first time, we are really following India's perceived national interests. Now, how we perceive our national interests, there may be a difference of view amongst people. But ultimately, to getting down to it in very simple language, our foreign policy is now related to two simple words: India first. And that somehow is not comprehensible to certain parties, especially the bigger players, because they don't want India to be a player. They want India to be a follower. And India is not going to be a follower. That is one thing which stands out very clearly. It doesn't matter, even when you look at Op Sandur, it doesn't matter what President Trump says that he stopped the war. He was nobody there. He wasn't a player in the game.
Okay.
The only two players in the game, it was India and Pakistan. India dictated the terms. Pakistan bowed. We said, okay. We were magnanimous. That's about all. And even when it comes to trade deals with let us say, with the UK, the trade deals which will come subsequently with the EU or with any other country, there are terms which we will lay down, which is in our interest. In this particular case, as far as the US trade deal was concerned, and I have been saying that for quite some time, you see, the sticking point is really on two issues: agriculture and milk product.
Right.
And that is not acceptable to us.
Okay.
There is a total difference of opinion as far as the US and India is concerned. It's not affected to us. India will do what's in our interest. Trump will do what he perceives to be in their interest. We'll manage. We'll get a way
All
out.
right.
We'll
Okay, I
still
want to bring in
maintain
Dr. Abhishek Srivastava, and I'll circle back to our panelists once again. Dr. Abhishek Srivastava, for somebody who's been teaching foreign policy for years at the Jawaharlal Nehru University, how do you view the current situation, sir?
Yeah, Trump is the most unpredictable leader in the current times. Like he's like what he want to do. He don't know the next day. He's thinking the next thing. See, the problem is in the February this year when Prime Minister visited United States, India and US had designed and declared the comprehensive global strategic partnership, the India-US Compact for 21st century. So when both India and US have decided to reach $500 billion trade till by 2030, so this trade impact, this tariff impact will certainly shatter the achieve the desired goal which India and US want jointly. The second thing which I understand for Trump, because Trump is putting sanction on India because our relation with Russia, and he's saying that Russia is killing people in Ukraine. Similarly, Pakistan is killing people in India, and if US is continuing relation with Pakistan, we should say the same thing in front of his face.